Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch. Sisters who watch.
The Bear.
Hey, y'all, hey. Welcome to
Hello.
Sisters Who Watch.
I'm Shelby.
And I'm Laura. We're sisters who watch everything. TV, movies, sports, concerts, and even miserable chefs making bougie food. We love to watch, and we love talking about it even more. Today we're watching
The Bear. Season 3 of the Emmy-award winning FX on Hulu original. Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. That's what we're talking about today. And before we get into it, make sure you're giving Sister Who Watch 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. Auto-download our episodes, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us at Sisters Who Watch across all of our social media platforms. Go to our website, buy yourself some merch. You can support us that way. And we also have listener support on Spotify. And you can support us via Zelle at sisterswhowatch@gmail.com.
Yes. We are grateful for all of y'all. And let's dive into our review of The Bear Season 3. So as always, giving the logline for the show, a young chef from the fine dining world returns to Chicago to run his family's sandwich shop. Hopefully, if you're watching us, you can see we are giving our best Sydney impressions today. We have some bandanas on.
Some braids.
We have some braids.
Braids, bandanas, and aprons.
Yes, chef, we're ready to go. Halloween costumes.
I was literally about to say, I went as Sydney for Halloween last year. Because it's so easy.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yes, at my work Halloween, I went as Sydney, and I wore a white shirt, this exact apron, a bandana, and I had braids in, and people got it immediately. They're like, "You're Sydney from The Bear." Yes. So it's such a great costume. It's perfect. It's perfect.
It's great. I feel like I knew so many people that did that. They either went as Sydney or in a group. If they were like Sydney and Carmy and Richie. Like everyone got into it.
What were your expectations, Shelby, coming into season 3?
Well, we did review The Bear Season 2, so check out that podcast episode from last summer if you have not listened yet. It's a goodie. Season 1 and 2 were amazing and award-winning. Season 1 actually swept like the Emmys last year, and people are expecting Season 2 will probably sweep the Emmys again this fall. Like, broke the record for the most nominations ever by a comedy at the Emmys. So it's looking promising. The Bear is a dark comedy, drama maybe, and it feels like it's getting less and less funny by the minute. So don't really know if it should be considered a comedy anymore. So that's something I was a little wary about going in, but overall I was looking forward to the new season. How are you feeling?
Expectations were extremely high.
Yeah.
Go check out our Bear Season 2 review from last summer. And we went off. We said that it had really amazing episodes. It started off a bit slow, but the second half was really amazing. Never forget the fishes episode. Never forget.
Not the family dinner I want to go to. Not how I want to spend the holidays.
No. But wow, that episode was so good. In last season, we left off with the opening of The Bear. It was like family and friends night.
Yes.
And Carmy got locked in the freezer.
In the meat locker, yeah.
It had a breakdown. Had a whole breakdown and
Really
was
bad.
calling out everybody in his life. Nobody was safe.
Including Claire Bear, his girlfriend. Brutal, because she just happened to be looking for him and was like standing outside of the meat locker, and he's like, I don't need to be in a relationship. I don't have time. I can't be with Claire. And she like hears the whole thing. Like, you can't make up like a worse thing that could possibly happen.
So bad.
Ooh.
So we were expecting to see all the fallout from Carmy's breakdown in the freezer.
I'd say the response so far to season 3 has been polarizing. Gotten so reviews. And has, been trending on social media for the wrong reasons. Like, people are making jokes about season 3. Here's the thing. I think it is very hard to keep quality in subsequent seasons, especially when you have such a high bar set by seasons 1 and 2. And I think that's why we were both kind of pleasantly surprised by Hack season 3. Like, that was so good. It's hard to keep that level of quality and engagement in writing. You see it with almost every show. Like, I've been rewatching Scandal. Scandal is not as good in seasons 4, 5, 6, 7 as it was in the first 3. I think everyone knows it got a little unwieldy. So I'm not shocked season 3 isn't as good as the others. And, we're going to dive into our full review, but it has been interesting to see backlash and sentiment about the 3rd season. Have you been seeing that too?
I've been hearing through friends and through people that they're not loving season 3 as much, but that's all I've heard. What are you seeing online? What are these memes?
People are talking about like how slow it is. Like, it's so hard to binge. Like, they release all the episodes at once, but you can't even like binge it. It's like, that's weird. Also, how it just seems like how unhappy Carmy is. Like, you'd think there'd be like a little like character development or evolution, but it seems like he's regressed. I also saw people talk about how they leaned a bit too much into like showing more of the ensemble cast. So of course the cast is led by Jeremy Allen White, who plays Carmy, and Ayo Edebiri, who plays Sydney. They're having moments right now. They're starring in movies like Iron Claw for Jeremy and Inside Out 2 for Ayo. Like, their stars are rising. So I think some people want to watch the show just for them. But I think this season really leaned into showing more of the ensemble cast, like having episodes on Tina or Marcus or Sugar. We saw a lot more of Uncle Jimmy and the Facts, Neil and Theo Fack, like those crazy cousins, just seeing them all the time. So there are a lot of jokes and discourse about them, like being too much, and I kind of agree.
I agree
then
too.
There was also discourse around the fact how it was like too many celebrity chef cameos. They got a 3rd season and were like, oh, we're a big wig show now. We're just gonna flex our muscles and show all the celebrities. It's like celebrity bingo. Like, you get a celebrity, you get a celebrity. It would be cool maybe if you just show like Danielle Boulud or Christina Tosi. Like, wow, that's great. But the fact that it was like every single celebrity chef you could think of in like 2 episodes, it was a lot. So that's been the discourse. They felt like too much focus on some of the ensemble cast that it got distracting, and same with the celebrity cameos. It's like, wait, are you telling a story? Or are you just trying to show that you now can like work with all these celebrities?
Ouch. I do agree about the Facts. I was like, whoa, we're seeing them a lot. Kind of like when we talked about Abbott Elementary, how Quinta was saying that not everyone can be on the show, right? Everyone wants to be a guest, everyone wants to be on the show, but it too much and it doesn't fit into the story. So to what you're saying, it seems like the Bear was trying to put in every celebrity chef they could. You sent me that article. There's an article that shows all the celebrity chef cameos. Shook. It's every episode.
It's a lot. Like, you probably missed like all the celebrities, because there would be like a photo or a flashback. Like, it was like celebrity cameo porn. It was a lot. It was just like they overdid it.
Okay, so it sounded like we started with our least favorite moments,
but that's not what it was. This was expectations.
Oh goodness, Shelby, what were some of your favorite moments from the Bear season?
Yes, 3? There were some positives, people. So, like you said, it started off a bit slow, and my favorite episode came in episode 6, the Napkins episode, where we learn about Tina and her backstory and how she was affected by layoffs at her job, then struggled to find work in, corporate roles, assistant gigs, whatever. No one wanted to hire her. And then she had like a really bad day, found out she didn't get a job or wasn't even going to be interviewed. Her train or bus was running late, so she saw the original beef out of the corner of her eye and was like, let me just go there. She goes in to get a black coffee. Richie's working the counter and gives it to her for free on the house. And then someone doesn't pick up their beef sandwich, so they give it to her too. And then she's like, wow, look at my day. Free sandwich, free coffee, perfect, because she's having money troubles. And then she goes into the back room to eat it and starts crying. And then you see the brother, who, is played by John Bernthal and ran, original beef, come up and talk to her and encourage her. and offer her a job. And it was just such a sweet interaction. And it felt really great to like learn more about how Tina even started working at the original Beef. And on top of it, you find out that Ayo Edebiri directed the episode, and it was her directorial debut. I mean,
yay!
Amazing. So my favorite episode was her directorial debut. It was great.
I had no idea she directed that, and it was for sure the best episode of the season,
By far.
hands down, by far.
You
by
look on
far.
IMDb, and it's the highest rated, so everyone else agrees.
Wow, so happy for Ayo. If you have been listening to us, we are such big fans of hers. So we're so happy. The fact that she had the best episode of the season, huge. That's unbelievable.
Big
so
deal.
I totally agree. I really, really loved that episode. And when that episode happened, I was like, okay, the season has started. It took 6 episodes, right? I was like, what took so long?
So annoying. I know. Like, right? I literally did not have a favorite moment until we got to episode 6.
Right?
That's crazy. Another moment I liked and kind of felt was ironic that Sugar, you know, Carmy's sister who's been pregnant and helping with the restaurant, more like from a business POV, is running errands for the restaurant, you know, 9 months pregnant, about to pop, and goes into labor while like putting things into her car. I was like, of course she does. And of course it's during rush hour and when the restaurant's about to open. So she's like stuck in traffic and trying to call people and no one picks up. And I'm like, of course no one's picking up.
Classic.
Like, it was just like the classic thing that would happen. And then the only one that picks up is her mom, who's played by Jamie Lee Curtis, who's a lot. And so then you have the situation where when she's trying to be calm, because she's having her first kid, she's with her mom, who's driving her crazy. It just was like, of course this is happening to Sugar. So I thought it was very ironic and funny in that sense. But I did like how eventually it did lead to like her and her mom bonding and kind of bridging some of those like tensions and gaps that they had in the past.
And I think the episode did a good job at really building that tension and really figuring out if Jamie Lee Curtis was actually there for the right reasons or was trying
to made help it
her,
like it
had
was
good
like
intentions
about herself for a while.
Right? Because she was like, no, Sugar, do this. No, you don't want that. All this stuff. And it felt very like, is she actually trying to help her? Yeah. Right? When Sugar was like, make sure you're calling my husband. Like, are you calling him? And Jamie Lee Curtis was like, yeah, don't worry. Like, I called him. I was like, I literally was thinking,
suspect.
Is she not going to call? So that she can have her
be the one
and be the one who's there for her. Yes. I also thought that. I was like, I thought that was going to happen.
Very suspect.
But in the end, right, it worked out. The husband did come and show up, and it was really tense. It was like an uncomfortable episode to watch.
Classic The Bear. Yeah, it was like
very uncomfortable.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you, Laura? Any favorite moments?
Yeah, something I actually saw on Instagram. Someone was like, this is a masterpiece of a scene. When the OG FAC, Neil asked Carmy, oh, how can I help? How can I help? And Carmy was like, bring this out to the table and air out the steam for the guests. Make sure you take off the cloche. Yeah. And he's like, perfect, got it. And he like walks out to the table and it's like, the chef wants me to air out the dish for you and remove the cloche. And then he removed the cloche from the plate and the steam and the smoke came out. And then he said, enjoy. And then he walked back in and didn't put the plate on the table. And then Carmy was like, what are you doing? He was like, I did it, boss. He was like, what are you doing? You didn't get. And then they just start screaming. And then Richie was like, wait, why did you do that? Why did you get. Yeah, it was just.
You gotta put it on the table. And it's like he needed every single detail of instruction. Like it didn't process to him that, oh, once I do this, I have to put it on the table for him to eat.
Put it on the table. Yeah. I thought that was a good scene.
And I think it shows the crazy family dynamics that they'll have.
Yes.
Wild. Another moment I liked was when Carmy invites Sydney to Chef Terry's funeral at Ever, which is basically like a final meal when a restaurant's closing. And I liked that because Carmy and Sydney aren't always the best business partners. Mostly from Carmy's end. He doesn't always include her, treat her like she is a partner. Like he makes decisions like, oh, I'm changing the menu. We're doing this. And she's like, okay. It felt like a really nice moment for him to be like, yeah, I'm going to invite Sydney to this like really big chef's closing of her restaurant where all these celebrity chefs will be there. And I want Sydney to have that experience. And initially Sydney was like, oh, no, I shouldn't go, da da da. And he was like, no, come. When they got there, it was really cool to see all the celebrity cameos and see them just like bond, reconnect, appreciate the meal, appreciate the memories. Like I did think that was like a nice finale for the season. And some of the celebrity chefs we recognized. Christina Tosi, who we all know from Milk Bar. Or maybe we all don't know, but being from New York, Milk Bar is very big there and it's kind of expanded to other places like there's one in LA. She's known for making a lot of desserts and she's been on like TV shows, she's guest judge things. So if you watch Food Network, Netflix, you've probably seen her on a cooking show before. And so right away, I was like that Leo meme. I was like, oh, Christina Tosi. And then her husband, Will Guidera, fellow Cornell alum, go Big Red. Like, it was just so funny to see all the celebrity chefs. Laura, did you notice them too?
Immediately, yeah, I recognized Christina Tosi, Wylie DuFresne, who I believe is on Top Chef. Shelby and I love all those food shows. Love Food Network, Top Chef.
Big fans.
Bunch of them on Netflix. I've seen so many of them. Malcolm Livingston II. I was like, I know that guy. I've seen him too. Yes. So it was just cool. We've mentioned there might have been too many celebrity cameos, but I did like at the dinner and seeing all those chefs that felt authentic and laughing and having those conversations. I thought that was a really cool scene.
And I really liked that Sydney did feel included and was able to contribute. I felt like there might have been some chemistry with her and the guy from We're the Millers. What's his name?
I just remember he was known as like the eyebrowed kid.
Yeah, is it Will Poulter?
I think that's it.
Will Poulter. Could you sense a little chemistry with him and Ayo?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, love it for you, girl.
I did notice that. I was like, oh, okay, Ayo. Sid.
Yeah, nothing happened yet.
To be continued. I cannot. Okay, we've hinted at it a bit, Shelby, but what were some of your least favorite moments?
So this might be polarizing because apparently not everyone feels this way. But the first episode of season 3, Tomorrow, I hated. It
Ooh, did not mince words.
It had no dialogue. It was a confusing timeline. It was just artsy B-roll the whole time. Just camera angles. It felt like I was watching a Terrence Malick film. Just trees in the wind, Carmy cooking, chopping things. 40 minutes of nothing. Some people feel like it was cinema and art. I was watching this with our brother in New York or Mississippi, like somewhere over the summer. And we were like, this is brutal. It's like watching paint dry. It was really tough. I watched it and then was like, I need a break from the bear. And that's why it's basically August and I just finished it because the season dragged and it started with the first episode.
So yeah, I honestly can't tell you anything about the first episode. What was the plot? I don't remember. I think it was showing his origin. Yeah, right. It was giving some background on Carmy and right.
Carmy and
that's all I remember. Yeah. I just remember there wasn't much to the episode. Right. It was mostly B-roll. It was just giving a bit of background and of him. Yeah, not a memorable episode at all. Something else we both noticed. You know, the bear is known for its fighting, right? And the dysfunction. Yes. That is at the show's essence, its core, right? Yeah. But I agree, it felt like there was so much fighting this season, right? Richie and Carmy were at odds the entire time. From the
jump. Then you saw Uncle Jimmy Moore, who's a investor in the restaurant. So he's like, I put my money in this. I need to see it do well. And he's going at it with Carmy a lot. And he brings in the computer to tell them all the things that they can't be doing. It just felt like no one was doing things that actually were going to help the restaurant. It felt like all the conflicts were just inhibiting them from working well together.
Right. Yeah, I agree. There was too much dysfunction because it felt like no one liked each other. Because usually, right, at its core, it's love, right? But it felt like there
Yes.
was no love at all
It was
in this
not giving
season.
love.
No. And like you said, Carmy, there was no character development. He was miserable the whole season.
The whole time.
And right, that trickled down to everyone else. Richie was miserable the whole season. Ayo, clearly,
cousin.
Sydney was unhappy the entire season, right? Because Carmy was in this funk and he wasn't listening to her.
It was a miserable season for everyone.
Right? Yes. I think that my critique with this season was that there was no joy. It was like all misery. And that's not fun to watch, right?
No. Like, I saw a meme, and I think I sent it to you and Jason, that was like, I love watching The Bear because I know Carmy's going to be having a worse day than me.
Yes.
And that's literally what it gave. It was like everyone was like just miserable. It's like, okay, I know at least I'm not having as bad a day as him.
That part. And something else, we're Sydney fans, but I didn't love how she moved out from her dad. Yeah, because her dad is so sweet and she was kind of being rude to him, being like, Dad, I already bought the place, whatever. And it's like, girl, you're not making that much money. Like, live with your dad. Girl. I just didn't like how she moved out. Why'd she move out? And he was like, it's a further commute to the Bear. Why are you moving out? And I didn't love how she was kind of shady and standoffish to her dad. I didn't like that. Her dad's so nice.
That's a good point. I kind of forgot about that. And he seems like a gem on the show. You'd think you'd want to, like, stay at home if you could.
Right?
Not to double down. Again, there's one episode I really enjoyed, which was Napkins, episode 6. And I didn't like episode 1. And I could not tell you 2 through 5 what happened. And it just felt like there were a lot of filler episodes where nothing happened. Yeah, so I just think in general, that's like a least favorite moment, all the filler.
Yeah, we talked about this right when I finished the season. What happened? We ended last season with family and friends night and the chaos and Carmy having a breakdown. And then this whole season, it's just the Bear being open, right? And Carmy is still having a breakdown and alone. And it's just, what was the resolution? There quite literally was no resolution because it's to be continued. So the whole season felt like filler and a stepping stone to next season. It wasn't giving super funny this season. Like, I didn't laugh out loud.
There was nothing to laugh about. If anything, you'd probably cry. But I didn't even feel like that much emotional connection to cry. No. So I just felt like I was watching it, like, trying to keep my eyes open.
Oh. Okay, onto our categories.
Yes.
Shelby, who or what did you love to hate about season 3 of The Bear?
We touched on this a little bit already, but for me, it's the many guest stars and cameos. Was it surprising to see John Cena as a Fack brother? Yes. But was it needed? No, it was honestly so distracting. So it's weird because I normally love a good guest star cameo, but I think they did too much. And I was excited to see Christina Tosi, but then you realize there are like 15 other chefs in that episode. It's like, do you need all that?
No.
I will say, I thought Joel McHale is hilarious as the really mean chef.
He's the best cameo.
He's the best one.
So good. He's funny.
So funny. And like, even in the final episode, Cartman's like freaking out, like, oh my gosh, that mean chef. And the mean chef like barely remembers him and is like, I'm good. You should be good. Relax. It was hilarious.
Like, you should thank me. I helped you. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be here. You're a good chef, so it's fine.
He destroyed Carmy.
And then Carmy's like
crazy
shaking. That was one of the best scenes. I loved that confrontation, I will say.
Yeah, we probably should have put that in favorite moments.
That was a great scene. But yeah, I agree. Joel McHale, I feel like, was the only cameo that really added something.
Yes.
I agree. John Cena was so distracting.
Distracting.
I was like, wait, why is John Cena here? And that scene where they're all yelling at each other and like buffing the floors, I just didn't.
And he's like, don't haunt me, I'm a ghost. And I was just like, what's the password? He's trying to buff the floors. It was just too much.
I didn't understand what was going on.
Chaotic.
I agree. It was alarming. It was a bit jarring having John Cena there. Something else that I have for this category, I did like the non-negotiable scene. They're like, what are these
Mhm.
non-negotiables? And they were going back
Yeah.
and forth. I thought that
Yeah.
was one of the better scenes early on. But it did seem like, right, Carmy's a bit of a dictator. And this is
Yes.
what Sydney, is going back and forth about. These non-negotiables, we're like, why do we have to do this? Why do we have to change the menu every day? All this
My
stuff.
point exactly. That's why I think it's in love to hate. I think there's nothing wrong with having like goals or a mindset or something to aspire to. But when you're supposed to be a team and a partnership, you don't just make non negotiables and say, this is what's happening. You discuss. And
I
he was just
know.
like, sugar, print these out. This is what it is. And then he just put them out and didn't want to explain what it was. He got very defensive. Not a good leader.
No. As we said, the family dynamics seem to get worse this season. Worse. They're already bad. How?
You
It
did think it could get
seemed like
worse.
the only development in a positive way was Sugar and Jamie Lee Curtis and the mom.
Yes. And that
That was the
happened like later
only.
on.
Yes, that was one of the last episodes. That was the only
Yeah.
positive family dynamic and growth that we saw all season. Everything else, everyone was in shambles the whole time. There was no growth.
It's in love to hate because I feel like sometimes it's fun and the show's known for that. But it almost felt like too far and like everyone regressed and it was like too chaotic and too unhappy. Like you
Yeah.
do need to like get along a little bit to run a restaurant. You'd think we were in hate to hate, but not yet. Now we're in hate to hate. So what did you hate to hate from The Bear season 3?
The pacing was a bit off. The first half of the season was quite slow, and then it picked up towards the end, but I feel like The Bear is known for its really fast pacing, and it felt like
Yes.
even towards the end, right, the finale episode ever, there are only a couple episodes where it was giving that fast pace behind the scenes
Yes.
chef energy
Yes.
that is so critical to The Bear. So I think we were definitely missing that.
Now that I think about it, I think it was called Doors. It was maybe like the 3rd or 4th episode. And that was, I think, the one where they were like running the restaurant for the first month and they were just quickly running through things. And it was the only episode that felt like, oh, this is The Bear. And I think I remember texting our brother, like, oh, I think The Bear is finally The Bear. And then it went downhill again. Like, it did not stick with that. But it was weird. One of the issues that I had is that it felt like the storytelling was non-linear and slower. And like you said, Laura, very different from the last 2 seasons. And it's okay to like switch it up, take risks, evolve. But it felt very counterintuitive to what the show had been. And I think because of that, it was hard to follow and just less enjoyable.
Okay, on to Love to Love. What do you have for this?
I will say what I think is core to The Bear is very like authentic storytelling about like being a chef. And so I think that is still the case, which is great. And I do enjoy that aspect. And like now learning more about the fine dining experience and understanding like the quality ingredients you need and like the R&D that you do to make sure the recipes are great and keep evolving and all the things that happen, right? And even closing fine dining restaurants because there are a lot of headwinds facing that industry. So I appreciate the authentic storytelling that we get just about the restaurant world. So even though I think this season wasn't as successful, you still had that piece to it, which I liked.
100%. And how we're giving the actors more growth opportunities. Yes, Ayo having the best episode of the season being her directorial debut. We love that.
And obviously means she was given the support, the opportunity. She was put in an environment where she could succeed. And that's amazing because a lot of times Black people aren't given that. So props to The Bear and the whole team for giving Ayo the opportunity to make the best episode of the season.
All right, Shelby, are you ready for our game? Red flag, green flag, 1, 2, 3.
Let's do it.
Okay. Shelby, is it a red flag to not tell your mom that you're pregnant?
It's a red flag. Even if you have a weird relationship with your mom, that's crazy. You live in the same city and your mom doesn't know you're having a baby? Come on, sugar.
That was wild.
Having a baby would cause you to be like, okay, we gotta bridge the gap. We gotta get along. We gotta make up because I need you to know this. I need you to be in my life. So I think that's crazy.
Yes, unless you have like no relationship at all with your mom, but right, the mom is still somewhat in their life.
Still, yeah, people still talk to her.
Right.
She's around. Yes.
It's not like you don't speak to her at all, right?
Yeah.
So I think
the husband seemed to have had a relationship.
right.
So yeah, I completely agree.
It's not like you haven't seen your mom in 10 years and you have no communication.
Like you're estranged. Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I think in this situation for sure, definitely a red flag.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Laura, question for you. Is it a green flag to ask your friend's ex-girlfriend to take your friend back without them knowing? I.e., the facts going to Claire at her employment and asking her to take back Carmy.
They were so wild for that. I cannot believe they went to her workplace to try and get her to forgive Carmy. That is not a green flag. I can kind of understand where they're coming from, but that was so wild. That is not a green flag. I think it's a red flag.
I agree, and especially the way the facts did it. I think you should never do that at someone's place of employment and like embarrass her and cause a scene like they did. That's really out of pocket. I can see you trying to get Carmy to see her, but going on his behalf is kind of crazy. Especially when Carmy is like not in a good headspace. Like
no, he's in a worse place.
Do some work before getting back to Claire. That's for sure.
100%. Is The Bear season 3 a wait or a watch?
I think it's a wait. Ooh. It's tough.
What?
I don't think there's a rush to see it, to be honest, but I think you should eventually watch it to prepare for the Emmys or get ready for season 4 next year. Or if you just want to be in on the conversation, because obviously still it's a show people watch and are talking about. Or honestly, you could just watch episode 6, Napkins, support Ayo, and see the best episode of the season. Because that was a flashback episode, so it has nothing to do with the rest of the story.
Yes, very true.
So you can literally watch episode 6 and be fine.
Yeah, you're really not missing out on anything. Nothing happened this season. It's just them running the restaurant.
And that's cameos.
Yeah, there's no advancement to the plot.
No.
Because where we leave off the season, it ends on a cliffhanger, because of course it does. Carmy's spiraling because, the restaurant...
saw McHale.
Yes. Yeah, it's having a breakdown after seeing the man who tortured him for years. And the restaurant's not making money. He's getting pressure, and Uncle Jimmy is like, we're gonna have to shut down the restaurant if we don't get a good review, and the reviews are coming in, and it ends on that cliffhanger, right? Is the bear gonna stay open? Is Ayo gonna leave? She has
a job offer.
Right? Do you think Sydney's gonna leave?
I think she was going to, but then when Carmy invited her to Ever, and she had that experience, like around all those chefs, I do think she started to feel bad or appreciate Carmy more. And then you saw her looking at articles about how great a chef Carmy is. And I think she was like, he's complicated, but obviously gifted and has connections, and maybe I should stay. So I honestly think she was going to leave until all that happened in like the last episode. So now I'm like 50-50. Before I was like, girl's getting out because the bear's toxic. But now I'm like, I think she could go either way.
I think she'd be a fool to stay. Because the dynamics have been the same this whole time. Nothing has changed.
She's
it's
like
just
hoping
pure
for
dysfunction.
Better or change, but it hasn't gotten better.
That's the definition of insanity, girl. And Carmy doesn't treat her as an equal. She hasn't signed the DocuSign. The DocuSign remains unsigned.
That's obviously her heart telling her something.
Yes, that is her gut. She needs to listen to her gut. And now you have an opportunity to be the chef de cuisine of your own, right? You can do your own menu.
Yeah, work for Adam Shapiro's restaurant.
Right.
He seems like a nicer boss.
Wake up. What are you doing? Carmy is a clown. Don't work for him. He doesn't respect you. And that scene, that was so heartbreaking when she's trying to kind of test the water. She's like, oh, what are we doing for the menu tonight? And she was like, I'm thinking this. He's like, no, we should actually do this. She's like, I'm thinking of risotto. He's like, no, actually, let's do the raviolo. And he shuts down every single one of her ideas. I'm like, girl, listen. Don't work there. So I will be upset if she stays because she deserves better. And as we have talked about in every single piece of content that we reviewed, Black women have to save the day in every single show and movie. And it's like, we can't keep on taking on this burden. Sydney, you can't save these people.
I know.
You can't. You got to get out of there. Save yourself. It's a sinking ship.
Sinking really fast.
Yes.
Get off before it sinks, girl. You still have hope.
She's the only person holding the restaurant together, and it's not fair. It's a hot mess. She's got to go.
In terms of what to watch, everybody, watch the Emmys in September. See if season 2 crushes. I think it will, because that's the season that had fishes and all those great episodes from last year. So that season everyone loves, so I think it's going to crush. And then we have season 4 coming next year in 2025, probably June again, because that's typically when they release the episodes.
Yeah, so we shall see. To be continued. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode of Sisters Who Watch more than season 3 of The Bear. And if you did, please give us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. Apple, Spotify, 5 stars, please. And make sure you give us a follow on all of our social media platforms at Sisters Who Watch, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter. We're everywhere. Go support us and give us a follow. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to our website, and you can also buy our merch. Go to our shop tab, and you can support us that way. We also have listener support on Spotify, where you can donate to us every month. And we have a Zelle, so you can Zelle us, sisterswhowatch@gmail.com. You can support us that way too.
And we want to hear from y'all. Please email us at sisterswhowatch@gmail.com with any questions or recommendations. You can also comment on all of our social media posts on Spotify, on YouTube, and we also have Q&As on Spotify. So respond to our polls. We want to hear from y'all. We really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes, Chef.
Bye. Bye, Chef. Stay watching, Chef.
Bye, Chef. Stay watching, Chef. Thank you.